And welcome back to the Old Gabbox radio show and podcast. Glad you're with us, everybody. Brought to you by Casa de Campo in the Dominican Republic. Go to casadecampo.com. It's the best golf in the Caribbean. 4 Pete Dye courses, and Teeth of the Dog, which is the best of the best, is reopening in December. It's undergone a facelift over the last year thanks to Jerry Pate and his great restoration company. Can't wait to get back down in December, and I'm urging you, as we near the holidays, now's a good time to go down to Casa de Campo. Whether you want to go with your family or a buddy's golf trip, it's all right there, casadecampo.com. Check in with Gilles Gagnon. He's a special guest very often on the big show, and he will absolutely fix you up. It's casadecampo.com. All right, time now for the Pigskin Prognosticator of prodigious proportions. If you listen to us, you wake up Sunday morning independently wealthy. We give you a teaser of our picks every Monday. Tide 100.9 FM, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. That's with Barry and Wimp Sanderson, the father-son duo. Really great guys, a lot of fun. And you can listen to our teaser picks as we segue into our Old Gabbox radio show and podcast. Hey, best team to bet on in college football against the spread. How about Ohio State, the number one team in the country? They are 6-0-1 against the spread. I thought this was interesting. Mississippi State still has not won a Southeastern Conference game this season or last season. Mississippi State this season 7-1 against the spread. Alabama 5-2-1, and the worst team to bet on, worst teams, Texas 2-6 against the spread. Oklahoma State, Baylor 1-7 against the spread. And some people will say, well, they're due, right? Just throwing it out there, food for thought. All right, let's get right into the picks. A lot of big games coming up. Can't believe it's week number 10 already. Notre Dame, number 12 in the country, 28.5-point favorite at Boston College. Boston College has lost 7 in a row. A lot of injuries are mounting for Bill O'Brien's team. They're 1-7, 0-5 in the ACC. They might be the worst Power 4 football program in the country right now. They are really struggling. Last year, the Irish beat them 44-0. Notre Dame looks to keep the hammer down to win 10 in a row to end the season after the 0-2 start. They want to win impressively. 28.5 sounds like a lot, but I think the Irish cover that against BC on Saturday. Meantime, South Carolina at Ole Miss. The Rebs now are 8th in the country, favored by 13.5 at home after an impressive road win at Oklahoma. Trinidad Chambliss is the outstanding quarterback for Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin really is the quarterback whisperer, even though this kid who transferred from Ferris State, man, he can run, he can throw, he's elusive. And I know Lenore Sellers is the guy way up on the draft boards for South Carolina, suffered that late fumble against Alabama, which turned that game around. But I just think Ole Miss at home keeps the momentum going. And I think for South Carolina, mentally it'll be tough to get back up after a heartbreaking loss to Alabama. Take Ole Miss and give the points. Meantime, Auburn at home against the hapless Kentucky Wildcats. Could Mark Stoops be the next coach to lose his job prior to the end of the season? Probably not. They'll probably come to some conclusion at the end of the year in Lexington. But meantime, Auburn is a football team that got it together in the second half at Arkansas. I think they win their second straight SEC game, and I think they cover at home. I think Auburn has a little mid-season push to get a couple of wins, and who knows, maybe save Hugh Freeze's job. The Cats have lost 5 straight so far this season. How about North Carolina at Syracuse? Syracuse favored by 2. Again, both teams struggling. Carolina 2-5, Syracuse 3-5 after the win at Clemson. Just a slew of injuries. But the one thing I noticed last week with Coach Belichick and his son as the DC, the defense at Carolina is starting to get pretty pesky. And they're starting to give other teams a lot of fits. They almost beat Virginia last week, and I think they continue to cause problems for a Syracuse offense with a bunch of backups. I like Carolina getting 2 on the road. I think they earn a win on Saturday. How about Duke at Clemson? The Tigers are really struggling, 3-4. Christopher Vizina, the kid from Birmingham, Alabama, the backup quarterback getting his second start. Big, tall kid, and really showed flashes of some really super talent a couple of weeks ago. Coming off an off week for Clemson. Tickets are available for this game. The fans are a bit just disinterested. I don't want to say disgruntled, but it isn't the season that they were expecting. For Duke, Darian Mensah, who we've talked about on this show, leading the ACC in passing, very talented kid. Duke comes in. They've kind of circled this game. This is a big one for Duke, an opportunity to go 4-1 in the ACC. I just can't see Clemson losing another game. Defensively, Clemson is very good. I think Clemson at home, regardless of the size of the crowd, gets it done and covers the 3.5 against Duke. How about number 1, Ohio State against Penn State? The Buckeyes a 20.5-point favorite. You know, at the beginning of the year, this is the one everybody was looking forward to, and so much has gone on with Penn State, as you know. We'll see what happens. Ohio State, some of their assistant coaches being rumored for some of these jobs, but I don't think they will be deterred or distracted. Off the top, we talked about Ohio State 6-0-1 against the spread. I think they go 7-0-1 against the spread this season, easily covering against a Penn State team that is going through all sorts of problems there in Happy Valley. How about Texas at home against Vandy? Huge game in the Southeastern Conference. Longhorns with that dramatic comeback, fourth quarter rally against Mississippi State. They're 2.5-point favorite at home. And you know, if you think about right now, if the season ended, there'd be 5 teams in the Southeastern Conference in the 12-team playoff. Now, a lot's going to happen. Texas not among them right now. Vanderbilt would be among the 5. Can Vanderbilt keep it going on the road in Austin? Vanderbilt is really, really good, and they've kind of run a tough gauntlet up to this point, losing only to Alabama in a close game, and they played hard on the road. I just think Texas at home after some close calls. Arch Manning got a little banged up at the end of that game. I think Austin is the deciding factor. That's worth at least a field goal. I think Texas upends Vanderbilt on Saturday. How about this game in the American Athletic Conference? Navy, 7-0. Against North Texas, 7-1. North Texas at home, having a thrilling season. They're favored by 6.5. Navy averages 477 yards of offense on a weekly basis. 318 of that comes on the ground, while North Texas averages 493 yards a game, 316 yards through the air. Here's the way I see it. There hasn't been anybody that's been able to stop or even slow down the Navy offense, which just eats up clock. And defensively, they just need a few 3-and-outs here and there, or maybe a turnover, and that's the way Navy's season has gone so far. Even though North Texas is a terribly exciting passing team, I like Navy getting 6.5 on the road. I think it'll be close. I think North Texas likely is going to win a squeaker, but I like Navy getting those points. How about Miami? Got back in the winner's circle last week. They're a 10-point favorite on the road at SMU. This is an interesting game. Of course, SMU, they lost at Wake Forest. Miami trying to keep things back on the tracks, and I really believe Miami will be favored in all the games the rest of the season, even the ACC championship, which I think they will play in. I think it's just time for Miami to get it right. After the stumble against Louisville, I think they cover against SMU, and SMU is having one of those seasons following the great season last year. They're losing some close ones that they didn't lose a year ago. Miami covers in that game. How about Big 12 action? Texas Tech, 13th in the country, 7-1, a touchdown favorite at Kansas State. K-State 4-4 on the year. They're having a tough season. Of course, they won a couple of games here recently. Kansas State has the worst offense in the Big 12, while Texas Tech is averaging 43.5 points per game, which leads the Big 12, and they lead the Big 12 also in total offense. I just think Texas Tech has too much on both sides of the football. Disappointing season for Kansas State, and Texas Tech keeps their really nice season going as they cover on the road in Manhattan, Kansas. How about Indiana at Maryland? Indiana up to number 2 in the country. Indiana is steamrolling everybody. This is an easy one. Maryland will not be much of a task for Indiana, who blew out UCLA last week. In fact, they're blowing most everybody out. Indiana easily covers the 21.5. Blowout city for Indiana. How about the world's largest outdoor cocktail party? Georgia is a 7.5-point favorite against the Gators. Billy Gonzalez, the interim coach for Florida. Shane Matthews was on the show last week, and he said, why not just do reverses and fake punts and onside kicks and just pull everything out because what do you have to lose? I agree. I think Georgia better expect the unexpected. And remember also, Florida has a lot of good players. This is not a bad Florida team, even though their coach has been fired. I think Georgia favored by 7.5. I think they win the game, but I think the Gators keep it close inside that 7.5. I'm taking the Gators. How about Oklahoma, now 18th in the country, stubbed their toe last week at home in Knoxville against Tennessee. A year ago with Nico at quarterback, the Vols with a big win in Norman, 25-15. Again, Tennessee's offense averaging over 45 points a game. That leads the Southeastern Conference in total offense. Offensively, they're giving up 31 points a game. So they score 46.5. They give up 31. Oklahoma, John Mateer needs to get that offense going. I just don't think it's going to happen in Knoxville. I think the slide continues for Oklahoma. The schedule's gotten tougher, and we'll see what happens. I think Tennessee covers the 3.5 on Saturday night. And that wraps up all our games. Man, we had a lot of games. We ripped through them. I hope you took some notes, and we look forward to week number 10 this weekend. Hey, check out the rest of our shows this week, too. Chris Doering of SEC Network fame and, of course, Florida Gator fame. He's on with us this week as well. Lots to talk about. Shane Matthews, if you haven't caught up with that one. Also, Dickie Pride, great player, great golfer from the University of Alabama, has had a phenomenal season. All that on the Old Guy Box radio show and podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody, and watching. We'll see you soon.